Hello there, it is April here in Virginia, and like many others, I am bringing my boat out for the first time of the year. And every other year, I have a little maintenance schedule I like to go through, and I'm going to share it with y'all. And I'm pretty confident in my maintenance schedule because, well, this is a 2007 Yamaha Outboard. Carburetor's never been rebuilt and doesn't have any issues. Never has. And I highly believe that this year it still won't. So let's dig in and get started. Hey y'all, my name's Aaron and I'm a car addict. And these are my assistants, Caroline and Nellie. Together, we are Two Labs Garage. We're a car YouTube channel. We love old cars. We love old trucks. We go to events, shows, drives. We do repairs, maintenance, budget bills, let you in on some of my tips and tricks I've learned over the years, and when we get the chance, we revive them. So come join us here at Two Labs Garage, where we're going to have fun putting old relics like this back on the road on a budget, and most importantly all, we're just going to have fun with old cars. Alright, so like I said, this engine is 16 years old. Carburetor has never been taken apart, never been rebuilt. And I do take some pretty meticulous care of these outboards. I really feel like my method is a very good one. Now this same method should work on pretty much any outboard. This particular one's a 9.9 horsepower 2-stroke, but it should work on pretty much any make, model, horsepower. The only real difference is the components get heavier. On the odd number years, I change the water pump impellers. Unlike a CARB, these are a rubber positive displacement pump. And it's done by wobble agitator, and basically you got the star-shaped piece of rubber in the center of the pump, which is also called a volute. And where it's off-centered, the rubber thing goes around and it creates pressure. It creates a vacuum on this side, pulls that right here. It's got it pressurized because you can't compress water, and that shoots up the motor through, cools it, and it has a P stream right here. If you don't have a P stream, you got a problem. I do a 2-year interval just because that's playing it safe. I'm just trying to keep y'all from having a bad day on the water. Never broke down on me. Alright, so first up you go want to remove these 4 bolts. 2 on this side of the skeg, 2 on this side. On Yamaha, this is a 12mm. I really would like to use my little electric ratchet here, but the clearance is kind of close. That's why I'm using a 1/4-inch one. But whatever you like. Oops. And when you're working on these things, have your motor sitting on something sturdy, clamped on. I'm using the back of the boat. In most situations that work fine, but now one thing I've noticed on the Yamaha, I kind of forgotten about this, but right here you got a linkage. And I do believe this is what goes to your shift. And on Evinrude, I know you gotta go in here, and in between there's a bolt that's kind of a pain in the neck to get to. I think Yamaha had a better idea here. So before I go and break all the bolts loose, I do believe I'll go and disconnect that. And if you want to do that first, that's perfectly understandable. I kind of forgotten about it. Nelly, hush. Alright, so let's see what this is. If you put it in reverse, you get a little longer lead, so that looks like that'll be helpful. And that's either a 3/8 or a 10mm. I'm going to have to get a wrench for that. I'll be back. Yep, daggone 10mm. Alright, go ahead and start taking this side off. Alright, the lower unit's dropped. Need to finish. Alright, so right here, I'm gonna try, see if I can't loosen this up. Unfortunately, you just gotta do it with opening wrench. If somebody knows a better way, leave me a comment. I'm listening. There we go. Alright, well, here's the lower unit. And as you can see, try to show you all this, see if I can, how about this way? Yeah, that looks good. You can see this is in outstanding condition, from what we can tell. No sign of any gear lube leaks. We got some scrapes and some paint wearing off, but that's nothing that you could say any more than atypical. But anyway, inside here is the wobble agitator or the impeller. So you take these 4 screws off, pop that off, and you get in there. You can replace the entire pump, but actually last time I did this, the insides here were in such good shape that I just kept it and changed the impeller. So save money this time, I just bought an impeller, and if I need to replace anything within here, then I can just go get what I saved from last time. Anyway, this right here is the volute, and if you look close, you can see that the shaft that drives the impeller is not centered. So water comes in here. Somewhere or another inside there, there's a tube. It comes up, goes through here, gets some pressure behind it, and then it shoots up here on a tube that goes to the cooling system in the engine. Take a 12mm again. Good gracious. I'll put these on with a torque wrench. Alright, and here inside the volute, it's looking really good. We got a little crusty, some sediment, but beyond that, this isn't in bad shape at all, so I'm still going to be good with just the impeller. And here is the impeller. And here is a broken O-ring, so we are going to have to replace that O-ring. Alright, the impeller. See in my hand, we can see that the ears are kind of in a permanent bent position. I'll get the new one in a minute and show you. But like this one's sticking straight up. That's like it should be. So this is where it's sat, probably for the winter. This is far from the worst water pump I've ever seen. Far from it. But it's also due to be changed. So that's what we're doing now. And hey, nobody likes to break down the water. This will, changing this now, could I have gotten another season out of this? Probably. But I just feel better changing it now. Alright, so here's the new one. Take out the package. And here, old versus new. And you can see where this one is definitely worn. But not worn out, so like I said, never had a problem. I've never pushed these to the breaking point. It does look like the O-ring down here may be a little suspect, but at the same time, I mean, worst case, I may have to go find me an O-ring, but I'm pretty sure I got another one. There is a top and a bottom to these, and you can tell because the notch here goes over the key in the shaft, which is in good shape, but it doesn't go through this way. So anyway, we're going to slide it on the shaft. Alright, let's see. It's close to lined up. Alright, so here's the kit I got one time before, and to say I didn't need a lot of the stuff that was in it, I'll just show it to you. It's got the part number on it, 63 Victor TAC Whiskey 0078 TAC 01. So anyway, it comes with new bolts, which these are in outstanding condition. Alright, this is the little piece that goes in the top here. Another bolt. What's this? Key. Like I said, this is a total water pump rebuild kit that I don't currently feel like I need. Just the O-ring. And the one thing that is missing is the O-ring. Man, this is supposed to be an easy job. Frustrating. I was sure I had a spare one of these, but evidently I used that the last time too. So actually, there's a Mercury dealer up the road from the house. So I'm going to ride up there and see if they have this, because I imagine they probably service stuff besides Mercury. But, or Mercury might have something similar. It can go hurt me to ride up there. It's probably 2 miles. See if I can't get another O-ring. So it turns out replacing this broken O-ring here was a whole lot more difficult than I thought. I went to a Mercury dealer. I went to a Yamaha dealer. Neither of them could get it. I went to auto parts stores. They couldn't help me. And I looked online. Even Amazon didn't have these things. So they're on back order. So kind of running out of options, I decided I'd go to a certain hardware store down the road from me. And turns out I found this variety pack right here. And darn if it didn't have one. Perfect fit. Right diameter, right thickness, right everything. So this is just the Danco large O-ring assortment number 1. And it's one that says 2 1/8 by 1 7/8 by 1/8. Turns out that's the O-ring for this. So I'll keep that in the memory bank now. And tell all y'all, if y'all having trouble finding that O-ring, number 103 from this pack, and the numbers I just mentioned, and that's your O-ring. So anyway, I got the O-ring back in here. And so right now I'm just turning the propeller the way it's supposed to go. Anyway, I do that because that tells me how my fins on the impeller need to flip. And I just turn the propeller slowly. It makes it sit down. And so I'm locating studs in here. Now just tighten it up. I don't know if y'all can hear it or not, but there's an ice cream truck across the street. And I'm half tempted to go give them some business. Anyway, got these bars on. Alright, so now the lower unit, we've got the water pump rebuilt for another year. Like I said, there were some parts I inspected. I decided they were good to go for another round. So now we need to put this back on the boat and do a few more preventive maintenance items. Alright, so now I think we're ready to put the lower unit back on. One thing I found over the years is to put them back in. It's a whole lot easier if you have the motor tilted up. So I got it sitting on the back of a boat, tilted up. Now, let's get the lower unit back on. Yeah. Aha. Alright, now that I've got it halfway on, I'm going to use bolts basically as another set of hands. Probably only put 2 in for the time being. Will just free up my hands so I can get the linkage hooked up and not have to be wrestling a whole bunch of things. So we're not all the way tight. That gives me some room for flow. Like I was saying before, make sure that your engine is firmly attached to a stable work surface. I just had things sitting on the back of a boat, not clamped, and I think we just saw what happened. Alright, now I'm going to try again. What I was trying to do was put the thing down in reverse so I could see enough of this to thread it on. Looks like I may need to draw up just a little more, and that's fine. move y'all around here. Alright, now I'm going to push it down into reverse. There we go, we got a lot more of it now. So I can start finding the correct wrench and tighten that down. Alright. Now I'm going to look at this by the discoloration. Get this little booger right here snugged up, because I think that's what holds it in position. Kind of binds on itself. So we got the reverse lever hooked up. Alright, and now I'm just testing it, making sure that it's like it should be, and it is. So now, just bolt the rest of the bottom on. Alright, next on my list is the lower unit oil. Now, to really check the level, you need to have the skeg sticking straight down and as plumb as you can get it. Right now I kind of want to just see if I can see the oil in there, so I can see if there's any kind of discoloration or anything. I'm actually inspecting the quality. I know it's just about impossible for y'all to see in there, but I'm not seeing anything that would indicate that there's water or impurities or anything in there. So oil's good to go, I just need to check the level. So I'm just going to temporarily put the plug back in. And that's not a bad position at all. So now, go take it back out. And we just need to make sure the level's topped off to where it needs to be. Now I use a good lower unit oil. And Amsoil's great. You can use pretty much any OEM fluid. Lucas, something like that. Use Amsoil. And put your plug back. Got a little work to do up under the bonnet here. So remove the hood. And the plugs, I do have a new set, but look at how good these things look. I might save them for another time. Let's pop these things out and see what we're looking at. Cool little thing, it tells you right here what plug to use and what gap setting. That's really nice. Yeah, I think I'll change these. They don't look bad though. Yeah. Look here. But yeah, I think it's about time to change these. Keep this old girl in good running order. Yeah, not bad, but I'd say they probably due for a change. So let me grab the ones I got and we'll change the plugs. Alright, so I'm using these NGK plugs because that's what it says right there. Yeah, that's what comes in it, and they're good plugs. And in case you need to know for these engines, it's a B7HS-10. And it says to 004 is what I'm supposed to gap it to, or 1 millimeter gap. Alright, my ratchet decided didn't want to switch back into forward. So I'm just using this brake bar because it's the first 3/8 drive thing I could find. Just not go torque it as hard as a brake bar is capable of. Come on. Alright. Wires, excellent shape. And also the other thing I want to look at is the cord. I want to make sure the cord isn't frayed. Just inspect the rope. And just so you know, wish I thought about this a minute ago. Probably easiest to do this when the plugs aren't in it. because you're not getting a compression stroke. But anyway, I just examined the rope. It's in outstanding condition. Another thing you can do when these is feel in here, see if you feel lumps, and it feels outstanding. Alright, so what's left of this Yamaha to get us ready for another good season reliably on the water? Well, I need to do a water test on it, and you can use either the mitts that go on the side, but I also like to periodically run them in a barrel, and I'll show you why in a little bit. The only reason I'm not going to do the water test right this second is because as soon as I put the hood on, I got to turn around and do my Evinrude, and I don't want to soak my work area. So I'm going to go work on the Evinrude, probably break that off into another video, because Yamaha people ain't going to want to watch me do an Evinrude, and the Evinrude people aren't going to want to sit through me doing a Yamaha. So anyway, I'm going to go get the Evinrude, make another video, and then I'll come back, do the water tank test on both of them, do a little trailer maintenance, boat maintenance. That'll be in both videos, the trailer and boat stuff. Have another great year on the water. Alright, I just got done with the Evinrude and the test tank, and now I'm going to do the same thing with the Yamaha. Also, before I fired up the other engine, I went through what I do as far as fuel and mitts and all, and I'm going to show that to you, and you'll just see the Evinrude instead of this, because I have no sense in repeating myself. The only real difference between this one, the Yamaha and the Evinrude, is this takes 100 to 1, and I normally run about 90 to 1 in it, just because the whole idea of 100 to 1 scares me. But other than that difference, I'm just going to switch over to that video real quick, and then we'll come back and we're going to fire this up in the test tank. Alright, so before I fire it up and it's making a whole lot of racket that you can't hear me, go ahead and talk about the fuel I use. I always use non-ethanol fuel. It is worth the extra money. I think that's part of the reason why I've never had a carburetor issue. Also, the oil I put in, these are the two that I normally use. Evinrude Johnson OEM and Quicksilver Mercury. Now I've been known to use Amsoil, Lucas, and even steel. In fact, in the pocket of a truck, I keep some of the little steel things, so if I'm out and I forgot to put oil in before I left the house, I got a few things back there and I can do, they're already measured out per gallon, so I find them handy. But nonetheless, I always use the OEM when I can help it. That might be silly, but again, I've never had an issue. This thing's 28 years old. Also, when I am done with it, if I run it in salt water, I put the mitts on the side of the engine, run it for about 5 minutes, it's flowing fresh water through it, and it's done a pretty good job. But periodically, I do prefer a barrel run, which is going to be this one, and there's a couple reasons for that. And the biggest one is I can put some cleaners through the engine. Sometimes I'll dump like 5 gallons of white vinegar in the barrel, because you know that's how people clean coffee pots. They don't use 5 gallons, but you get the idea. So I run that through there. That'll dissolve some of the sediment and scale. And also, I'll put half of this bottle in there, and then when I come back and do the Yamaha, I'll put the other half in there. But this is just cheap dishwashing liquid, came from the dollar store. Where I learned this is, I used to be in the volunteer fire department, and anytime that we had to use the fire engine to draft out of a water source, especially around here where most of it's brackish, that's how the pumps got clean. You basically dump this in the tank, run the pump backwards, let it go out on the pad, and you'd have foam this deep, and oh man, we had so much fun in that stuff. But nonetheless, if that's how they clean the fire trucks, I figure that'll all be good for my boat motor. Alright, let's fire her up. the propeller acts like an agitator. Really get the soap thing going. We got a good strong P-stream here, which is fantastic. Seems to be running fairly smooth. Clean some dirt off while I got the soap. Got a good temperature differential. While I'm doing this, I like to run them in reverse a little bit because I'll pull the water back towards the motor and just kind of help clean things up. Just realized y'all couldn't see the tank real well. Yeah, this is reverse, neutral, forward. Now, I do want to look up under the hood, make sure I don't have any leaks of any kind, fuel or water. Everything is looking really good. Now I'm just going to disconnect the fuel line and let it run out of gas. I'll get, especially y'all using the ethanol fuels. This is pretty important. I run non-ethanol, so it's a little less important, but it is still important. Without allowing all the stuff that comes up and all to not sit in the carburetor and it'll come up. Now some people say you shouldn't do this because it deprives the engine of lubrication, and I understand that argument. Also, like I said, it gets the stuff out of the carburetor you don't want in there. And I have torn apart two-stroke engines before, not specifically this one, but I have torn them apart, and they are so slippery on the inside, they really lube really well, so I really don't think it's an issue. Like I said, I had that Heavenry motor 28 years, I've had this one 16, and never had any significant trouble out of either one of them. The biggest trouble I've ever had out of the Heavenry, I addressed in the video I just made for it. So, really that wasn't all that big a deal. Fairly easy fix. When she's about to run out, I'll pull the choke and try to get every last bit of gas out of it. Now this outboard is ready for another great season on the water. Alright, I'll take you all around real quick, show you a couple things. Always check, make sure my lights work. These are brand new, so they've already been tested. The wheels, I look for anything that looks like the wheels may be compromised. The tires, make sure they're not cracked, make sure they got a good amount of air in them. The rope on the winch, make sure it's in good shape. I replaced this right before I put it up last fall, so we got a good rope. Your safety chains, your pin, and tongue jack, those wear out fairly quick. And as you can see, at one point I broke a bearing on that and almost lost a wheel, but I didn't. So every 5 years I change the bearings. So 2025 that'll be due. Inspect your strap, which in this case I have run over. And then up under here, I check the condition of my springs, my axle, and my U-bolts. Do the same thing on both sides, and look for any signs that one of the wheel seals may be failing, which is normally grease slung, similar to that, but that's old. Also the wheels. As you can see, we got some rust, paint flaking off and all. Now, especially, like I said, a lot of brackish to salt water in this area. I really prefer galvanized rims, and I prefer the wagon wheel style to the bullet holes. So I've got a dog standing right in front of the camera. Girls, go look. I'll work for a minute. So anyway, as you can see, I got the complete opposite of what I would go out and buy. But when a friend of mine says, hey, I got some trailer wheels and tires that'll fit your boat trailer, and I don't have any use for them, come get them for free. I say, thank you very much, sir, and I come and put them on the boat. And now that they're flaking a little bit, I'm going to take my wire brush, not the least paint off. So what I'm going to do is spruce it up some, make it look a little better, is I'm going to use this Rust-Oleum rust reformer and paint it on there. And whenever I paint a set of these rims on a trailer, I always use black because you don't have to mask off the tire. And I tend to ignore it, so any imperfections, and they'll notice. So let's just shake it a little bit at first. Rebuilt, and now also have these buddy bearings. I put some. Alright, got that greased up. There's a hole when it starts coming out of. This reminds me, on the Yamaha, I forgot to do the grease fittings on things, so I'll do that now. Alright, so I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Scrape the flaking paint off, paint it black. But that's my trailer maintenance section. Also, I'll show you my boat real quick. The boat is a bit of an antique itself. 71 years old. This is a 1952 LONESTAR. And I used to have it decked over here, from here all the way back to here. And that there, all the way to the back was decked, so I could use it like a bass boat. Used to have a trolling motor up here. I don't really do that much bass fishing anymore. I decided the boat was better used nowadays as a john boat, and I can still bass fish out of it. If you wanted to pull noodles in here, my wife picked out the colors, but my little yellow lab over there, she liked to jump out, but a couple times she got her legs in between the bar here inside the boat and got hung, and well, we didn't want to really get hurt, so I put the pool noodles there to kind of keep that from happening. Also, if you're riding, you got your leg rust on that pool noodle, it's quite a bit more comfortable. I got some stair treads screwed down just to make it more comfortable for us, and also dogs like to run around, and that way they're not just sliding on those metal seats. Replace that transom a couple times. But yeah, she's, like I said, the boat's over 70 years old and still hanging in there. I love it. And I'm not really looking to get a new one because it's got the V-bow, it rides smooth. But the way it is back here, it's still somewhat steady. Won't beat you to death like a flat bottom. And one last maintenance thing I will mention is every time I get back, especially if I've taken this thing to salt water, I take a hose and I really thoroughly rinse down the trailer. Now this trailer is a 1981, been in this area forever, and she's going to need to be replaced in a few years, maybe before I need bearings. So I'm kind of looking out for an aluminum trailer to replace this one. But nonetheless, this trailer's 42 years old now, still going, so doing something right. And one last maintenance thing I will mention is every time I get back, especially if I've taken this thing to salt water, I take a hose and I really thoroughly rinse down the trailer. Now this trailer is a 1981, been in this area forever, and she's going to need to be replaced in a few years, maybe before I need bearings. So I'm kind of looking out for an aluminum trailer to replace this one. But nonetheless, this trailer's 42 years old now, still going, so doing something right.